Kyle. We are live. Hey, we're live.
Let's see. I got to consent. I got to consent to the live stream.
There we go. And we're computing, recomputing. And just like that, we're live on the air. Paraglidingtalk.com. Let me see, close this. Welcome. So glad that you're here tonight. Welcome to Paraglidingtalk.com. I'm your host, Robert Michaels. Glad you are here. We've got a great show lined up tonight. We've got Kyle O'Glee with us. So glad that
Hey,
you're logging in. Best internet talking show about paragliding on Thursday nights at Pacific time. I should probably stop saying that just in case somebody tries to rise up, try to take the slot. We're not going to watch Robert's show. We're going to watch someone else's. Glad you're here. Welcome. If this is the first time that you're watching or first time that you're catching, maybe you're catching the after effects of this show, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the bell so you get the alert 30 minutes before we go live on Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Glad you're here. First time, welcome. If you're a returning customer, glad you're here. Want to say thank you to all the Patreon supporters. We have a Patreon supporter right here, Kyle Glee. He has single-handedly bought many people's gifts, trinkets, shirts, gear.
Rent.
John Wayne donated $10 in super chat. What'd you say, Kyle? I'm getting rich.
Rent. I'm paying that for rent.
Yeah, rent. Oh, that's right. Yeah, because
letting it stack up so that I can come have a place to stay on occasion.
Yep. I tell the wife, make him the good food. He's a Patreon.
Nice.
Yeah, John Wayne, thanks for that contribution. By the way, I got your package. He won the spinny wheel of Winnie things. Sean rigged it just right for John Wayne. Your package is sitting right back there in the backdrop. If you want to know more about packages getting sent to you, stick around for the half-hour mark, and we're going to give something away on the spinny wheel of Winnie things. Oh, it's good. The show's brought to you by PPG Smoke. PPGsmoke.com is the website. Ryan Roberts has a whole bunch of cool stuff that he engineered. It's all for flying. Really cool, really fun things like chase cams, lamels, smoke machines. Started off obviously with a smoke machine. He wanted to be able to have some fun with that, and so he did. And everything that he made for pilots because he is a pilot. And so if you want to go check out his website, the website is ppgsmoke.com. Some of you are interested in how does the new Unity headset work. I want you to know I tested it out on Saturday and it worked flawlessly. That thing is incredible. Modern marvel. Super stoked about that. Video coming soon, me and Jeff. By the way, if you're testing sound, anything that has to do with sound, and you're with Jeff Hammond, and Jeff Hammond gives you the thumbs up that it's good, that means it's good. And he's tried and tested every type of system you can imagine over the years. He said it was incredible. So Jeff Hammond approved.
Does it plug to a radio or is it like an intercom? It does.
Yes. Does both. Yeah. So connects to your it's connected to my GoPro, so it's picking up my audio, little boom mic, and then it has push to talk for my two-way radio. And then it also can connect to your phone. I was having a conversation with Gringo on my phone while I was talking to Jeff on the two-way, and all while we're flying in the air. And
we were both screaming full throttle, and he couldn't hear the motor.
Yep, couldn't hear the motor. Neither one of us.
Wow.
And
so
I'm
wearing with my training, I'm kind of dead. It's like a dead heat, radios and intercoms. I use these. It's just a generic one I picked. I don't know if it's good or bad. It's way better than the Cena. They're called FOD Sports. That's the brand. Not affiliated with them at all. Again, it was just a roll of the dice, but they end up working like a half mile away. I can talk to students just effortlessly without pushing anything. It doesn't start crackling until they hit about 2,200 feet. And then radios, you get a little more distance, but sometimes they're a bit clunkier. You know, you got the extra thing to clip on, a lot of wires hanging down. So pros and cons, but I find that I have like equal reliability with the new intercoms versus just old Baofeng radios for student instruction. Now, if you're flying, motor to motor, the intercoms are probably going to be clearer, because they mute out the motor sounds so well, where radios, you could get some interference. I know people should get some interference on that. Going motor to motor. Of course, with students, I'm down on the ground where it's quiet, so it's easy to transmit clear instructions. But if I was on a motor, I really like to do intercoms with that.
Yeah, this thing's really incredible, but go check them out. I've got a couple new sponsors. Harley Milne runs a school here in Southern California. His website is dreamlifterparamotors.com. Maybe you want to get trained to do some major cross-country flights, or maybe you want to test some world records. You can do that, get some training with him, and you're going to be on the right track. He's got some really cool stories to tell. Some of our past episodes, he's been on the show a number of times. Go check those out. Also want to mention Andrew Fuller's full service wing repair and checkup shop. His website is paraglider-inspection.myshopify.com. Also want to mention, if you accidentally blow up a prop, it happens. You can go to paramotorprops.com. Great deals on the internet. Buy yourself some new props from them. They're good people. I can't say enough about how
Michigan, Robert.
Oh, you did?
I exploded a 3-blader. Yeah, it's a great story.
Oh no, that's an
Yeah.
expensive mistake.
Nah, it was a freebie.
So, yeah, won
I
it
got
on
it at
the
a garage sale.
sweepstakes. Nice.
No, man, everything,
so
it was early in the morning. I'll go ahead and tell the story. I was at Northport.
Yeah, go for
way
it.
up on the northern coast of Michigan there at Woolsey Airport. And I'd gotten up early. It was before the sun came up. It was real cold. It was near 50 degrees. Like, it was just a couple weeks ago in Michigan. It's near 50 degrees, right? Like, that's nice. So I put on like my jacket and everything, and my mask and my gloves, and I'm geared up to go. And it was a dead calm morning. And this airport, it was familiar. You just got this wide open direction in every direction. But my glasses, they was fogged up. Like, I was too lazy to unfog them before I took off. And so I thought, I'll just launch blind. I'm 30 seconds away from hitting anything, so why not? So I pulled the wing up, hit the gas, again, just like I've launched thousands of times. I got lifted off the ground. I can't see still yet. There's another 10 seconds have to go by before your glasses actually unfog due to the airflow. And so I felt a little bump in the wing and then immediately hit the ground. Like I flew right into the ground. Never saw it, but I knew exactly what happened.
Oh.
I was just like, wow, so I guess I should have been able to see. I could have put my feet back down, but it was just, I don't know. I think it was a weird wind thing. Like, the launch was good, but when I felt the sink, it coordinated itself with a little bump in the ground, and I clipped the cage and dusted that prop. And then, it was fine though. I took it off, put a new one on, made a zip tie. 30 minutes later, I did another launch and it was fine. But the beauty of paramotors, you crash them into the ground and then fix them 30 minutes later and go again. So I was
the
really
first guy that I've ever heard launched blind.
Yeah, I've done it before.
You might have a record.
Complacency probably is the word of the day here. I've done it and made a successful attempt on many occasions during the cold when my glasses get a little foggy. A lot of times I'll just pull them down like this and I'll launch and look over them. But again, I was just being lazy. And I was like, they'll defog in 20 seconds, and I'll be fine. But in that 20 seconds, I flew into the dirt. So,
and blew up.
Lovely times. Yeah, I exploded it.
Man.
It was bad. Full power in the seat, hit the ground. Never saw it. So beautiful. But that's why you bring extra paramotor, extra prop when you're on vacation.
Yeah. So how was that vacation, by the way?
It was fantastic. I was managed to stay in 70-degree high temperatures for 10 days straight before I had to turn around and come back into this soup bowl. And the soup's hot here. It's very hot.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to blow on your porridge before you could eat it around here.
Because it's too hot.
It's too hot. It's too hot.
Yeah.
I immediately got the worst trip depression I've ever had as soon as I got back.
No
I
kidding.
couldn't, I still ain't unpacked all the way. Just a swelter, and you sweat as soon as you go outside. It's terrible. But,
Yep.
yeah, Aaron I chased me the whole way. He stayed with me the whole time. A lot of people came and went,
He-
like they would stay a few days, then go do their own thing. But I was able to hang out with people I knew the whole time or make friends
I didn't know
along the
Aaron
way.
I
I
was
met
from
some,
Michigan.
no, he's from Missouri. He just went because he
Oh.
heard it was cooler up there.
Oh, gee, both you guys escaped the heat, man.
Yeah. He's in Salt Lake
In
City
the
right
chat, by the
now.
way.
I think he turned around as soon as he got home and went the other way again because it was hot there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he jumped out of his van when I hit that prop. He was like, he thought I was dead or something. He said he heard full power and then whack, it just stopped. And he
He's
thought I
one of the
crashed
people
into a
you-
tree or a van.
Yeah, he's one of the types of people that you'd like to have with you if you did have a problem. Because
Oh yeah.
he's
I was
right
just kind of
there
sitting on the ground
spot.
laughing about it. I knew what happened. But
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of comical
Well-
myself. Like that's what I get for launching blind,
I heard Aaron I can hide a set of paramotor props in his beard.
Maybe.
Yep. And that beard is pretty amazing. Got Crazy Uncle
Yeah.
Bob's in the chat. What's up, Crazy Uncle Bob? Can flies in there. I'm super nervous right now because I think my internet just went down. You guys still there?
No,
Yep,
man,
we
we're
can
just
stay
being
here.
quiet.
Okay. I saw some movement and I'm like, okay, yeah, we're still on. Son of a gun. So Kyle O'Glee is actually on Starlink right now at his house. So he's testing out Starlink for us. Sounds like it works pretty good. Kyle, you got any tips about that? I'm about to pull the trigger on that.
Transmitting to the heavens, my friend. There's a lot of satellites up there. Supposed to only get faster. I mean, every week I'm a subscriber to SpaceX on their YouTube channel, and every week they're launching Starlink satellites. So the more they get
saw
up there,
one.
the faster it's going to be.
Yep.
I stood in
Saw one
line.
the
I
other
mean, I
night.
paid $100 and stood in line for a year before they gave it to me. I've had it for almost a year now, maybe a little more. But
So you
I
love
just
it?
ran it out on a pole in my front yard. You need a good north facing sky. Like you want to look to the north. Most of your
Yeah.
satellite internet providers like HughesNet and such, you got to look at the to the
North
south,
Star.
kind of to the equatorial band. But
Oh,
here, instead of pointing a bunch of dishes at one satellite, there's a bunch of satellites and they fly by the dish. So you're actually looking to the northern part of the hemisphere versus the equator.
interesting.
No geostationary satellites were the old type of, satellite internet, but now there's a constellation and the constellation is constantly flying by. The only time I lose service is thunderstorms. You get big, heavy rains, it'll knock it out until it passes, but it's never been a huge deal.
And we don't get a whole lot of that kind of shutdown stuff.
No, I
Yeah,
mean, just,
Leah
10,
Cachulo.
20 minutes here and there when it's a big storm, that's about as bad as it's ever cut out. I've never had any issues with it other than that, which I'm not on it
All right, I'm
24/7 either, My kids game on it, so apparently it's of moderate gaming quality.
So we're about $500 away from
Yeah.
we've been trying to make the show pay for it. So we're
Write
by
it
the
off
end
on the
of
old
the-
taxes, huh?
that's right. That's right. Well, I've said it on the last show. If I buy something like that, then my wife's going to want to buy something. And that's how you drain your bank
But
account.
the internet's
You
for
get-
everybody. Like that's a family
That's
purchase.
right.
Everybody's
you
going to
go.
be using the Starlink,
Well,
Robert.
Let me get Aaron. Hold on. I need you to tell her that. Just kidding. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about training. You've got a pretty healthy school going now. I know you're a busy man. You got a lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the school. I'm interested to hear how things have been going and got any all-stars lately.
Man, there was I'm only doing the spring and fall semesters. I'm taking off summer and winter. Although this year I did a winter class, which was nice. It was it's January. I had 3 or 4 people reach out from me from the Great White North. You know, they all start calling about January. Apparently they're just fed up with the coldness and they're trying to head south. Same reason I headed north in July. You know, it was opposite, but same reason, just to get away from the bad weather. Their case, they're coming down here the cold. I had 2 Detroit, 1 Rhode Island, and 1 New York, and did a class of 4. And man, we talk about luck. We lucked out on the weather. Like, they got here and we had almost a week of like 75, 80-degree January days with some nice winds. And then we knocked out all their training. They all got flights in and did that. And then I took off, and in March through the solstice, I do the spring semester, take off for the summer, take care of chores and travels and all that sort of jive. And then September 1st, we're opening back up. I got spots. There's a few people scheduled, but it's not as big as it has been in previous years. Like, even the spring semester was a little less, which it was welcome. You know, I don't need the work necessarily. I enjoy doing it, but it's not something that I have to do at this point. So it was kind of welcome to have a few gaps here and there where I was able to do some other things, some projects at home and such. And I've been working at the store, at the pharmacy, a couple of days a week. So yeah, a lot of irons in the fire, but the people that are here to train, when they're here, we're out there training morning, evening, and then afternoon if we need to do classes. But yeah, taking the summer off was something I started a couple years ago. I got like a heat stroke type thing, like too much, too long, too much sweating. My electrolytes got off. I felt unhealthy. It was just like it is now. You know, if I was out there teaching somebody to kite this week, I'd be a miserable mess, just from even if you're out early in the morning, there's no wind, it's wet. And then you're having to hustle to, you know, make the wind blow.
And it's easy to do too. I mean, even when you're ground handling, you know, you're occupying yourself. Sometimes you're so occupied with what you're doing that you're not focusing on how much you're sweating, how wet your clothes are from sweat, you know?
Yeah. Those 3 shower days, you know, it's only so many. I was telling the people in Michigan, there's only so many days in a row you can go with wet underwear. That it's just not, no matter how much fun you're having, it's not as much fun with wet underwear on. You know, it's going to take the joy down 20% if you sweaty drawers, for sure.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's what you end up with around here this time of the year. So I quit training during the summer, at least the new arrivals. You know, if somebody comes through and they're a student and it's good for flying, we're flying. You know, fly time is every night and morning if we can. But ground handling classroom, we're gonna save that for the fall, and got some spots. Actually, yeah, I think every spot is opened. If I don't get 2 people on a day, and I usually do 2 or 3 a week is how I've been sort of scheduling it. But if they keep coming, I'll keep teaching. If they stop, I'll just go back and do drugstore. But yeah, I enjoy it though. I enjoy it. I do it because I enjoy it.
You said, I'm just going to go back and do drugs. I was like, wait a second, Kyle, you don't have to do that. Drugstore. He's a pharmacist, guys. He's a pharmacist.
Yep. On Thursdays.
There's a question from the chat. Copay J, he's a local San Diegan. He said, will Kyle be coming back to California like Sultan?
I hope so. I almost went this
guarantee
past time when I went to Michigan. So I didn't even know exactly where I was going. I knew that Michigan was an option. I knew there were some people going there and they were telling me about it. But when I scheduled the time off, unless I bought a plane ticket somewhere that might be good, I pulled up the whole weather map of the United States and I looked like high temperatures. I looked at the high temperature map, and anything that was red or orange, ixnay. And so I looked for yellow and green, and it was Colorado, Oregon, or Michigan. Those are and I'd done those others before. Even San Diego was showing some orange, Robert. It was not great.
I know. I know.
It was kind of hot for San Diego, for everywhere. It's been hot everywhere, but
it was hot.
I mean, it was Indiana before I hit the first 70-degree temperatures on my truck. That's when I pulled over, took the first nap. But I looked at where it was going to be cool first because I was going to be camping, and I'd never been there. That was another factor too. I wanted to go places I'd never been. So I went there, but I also looked at which side of the lake I wanted to go to. I wanted the onshore winds, and I seen that it was going to be blowing from west to east. And so I shot over to the I guess you call it the eastern shore or the west coast of Michigan. And that's where the wind was blasting in on those dunes. And I was able to capitalize on a bunch of free flights. I flew 5, 6, 7 free flights, maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe, yeah, about 7 free flights I caught on that 10-day trip. Of course, it was 3 on one day, 2 on another, 2 on another day. But
what were you flying?
the Zeno. Oh, I
nice.
flew a Speedwing too. I had a Yodi 315. The day that I got there, it was nuking on the dune about 25 miles an hour. And I'd never flown this setup. I'd bought it years ago in the hopes that one day I would be at a coastal site with a strong wind and I could soar this teeny tiny wing. And I was able to do it. I took about a 40-minute flight on it.
So I saw the video of you talking about it, and it sounded like you got plucked and you had to fly over the lake, and then you're just up there for a while.
Yeah, I mean, plucked. That was what I got. Snatch. Plucked is on accident.
Yeah, snatch.
I knew. I was leaving the dune immediately.
Yeah.
The dunes, and there's a couple of factors there. I'd never flown off of a dune, and so that was all new. You can't really move in that sand very well. Like, it's deep and steep, and so when you're trying to run up the hill to catch your glider, you got no traction. It's just like you push dirt and your foot just sinks down to your shin. It's over your boot even. And I was trying some, but I just ultimately relegated. I'm just going to get pulled off of this thing, make sure I have a good straight inflation. And when it pops me, I spin around and go. So it was an offshoot of running uphill, but I couldn't really run up the hill very good. That was a problem. I say a problem.
We have a set of dunes here in Southern California. And so when you come, you're going to need to just set aside about a 6-hour drive from San Diego and go up to the sand dunes. They call it Sand City. And it's pretty amazing. I went and I spent a day there I brought the wife. And I guess I didn't know until afterwards, but I guess it's pretty popular for, loving on your wife. Monterey. A lot of people go to Monterey. It was pretty cool. A good place
Monterey's where the sand
place
dune
to fly.
is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really cool. So yeah, put that on your travel guide. So you come here.
Well, now that I've got a little bit of dune experience, that I really enjoyed it. In fact, the first day, there's no video of it. I'd taken off my first, second, or third speed flight. The first one was just kind of top to bottom. Like, I didn't have enough elevation to catch the lift band. But then I did. After the third hike up, I caught the lift band on that little 15, and I did a couple of passes. And when I came back, I was going to do this little side hill kind of side landing. And I put my feet out, and when I did, they just puffed into the sand. It was so soft. And I thought, oh man, this is different than I've ever felt. And so I just started kind of letting it beat me up the hill and kind of let the wing bounce around. And I was just letting it drag me, for lack of a better word. I was just kind of letting myself get pummeled into the dune just to see what it felt like to puff into the sand like that. I wasn't trying to control it necessarily. And anyway, then I went ahead and did some flying, but yeah, the dunes was neat. That'd probably be a neat place to learn like some high wind skills. And
now those were some tall dunes.
Yeah, 350, 400 feet. They were big.
Yeah,
they were big.
Yeah,
and the
there's
ones
some
that you
stories
had to climb up the back, those were hard. If you had to go up and down a couple of times, like the hiking became an issue because you don't get as much for your step in the sand. You step up and then it sinks halfway back down. And so hiking the dunes carrying gear was harder than hiking the mountains in California for sure. But again, they're 350, 400 feet was the most. But still, that'll tax you after 3 or 4 trips.
You got to be careful too when you're out there. I think there's a place, and I think it's that spot. They have a sign that says, "You will not be rescued if you hike down and you can't hike back up."
Oh, I
don't know if it's that exact same spot.
Yeah, there was a dune Sleeping Bear. There's a sign that says if you get stuck at the bottom, it's a $3,000 retrieval fee.
That's what it is. Yeah.
That's
rescue
fee.
fee.
I top landed on that one.
Nice.
Yeah.
You got to be careful on that one. But I hear people get stuck down there all the time, get lured in, and it's real easy to go down. You just kind of,
Oh yeah, down's like a dream, man. You're like, wee,
yeah,
like a carnival ride almost.
yeah, you
You
get
you're
sucked
trying to
into
jump
that.
out as far as you can, and you just land in soft sloped sand. And it's
It-
and I tell you something about the Great Lakes that I don't know if you've experienced, being near it's fresh water. So the sand isn't salty, and so it's not sticky.
Ah,
And so
oh,
none of the
interesting.
sand sticks to you. It immediately falls off as soon as it dries. That was something that I've never come across is the texture. Like there's no
Hmm.
salt in the water, so the sand doesn't stick to everything like it does at a coastal site. That
Or
Yeah,
was
it's
like
a
the
different
Salton
unusual.
Sea.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
when you go up to Glamis or Salton Sea, the sand's different at both of those areas. But out here in
Oh, I
Ohio,
bet.
our sand's a lot different. And just like Michigan sand's a lot different too. It's
It
like
was clean
completely
sand.
different world. Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the sand, but I was fine with the Michigan sand. Oddly enough, it just bounced right off, so didn't leave a residue.
Yeah.
Let's do the giveaway 3 minutes early. Fire that
Yeah.
Woo!
thing up,
Now we're
Sean.
talking. Keep them on their toes, right? No more
Yeah,
names, no
fire it
will.
up.
I know this is on a lag, so haha,
And
beat you all to it.
right after this, by the way, we're going to talk about some tow operations because I know you run a little tow machine out there, Kyle. So
Oh yeah.
I want to answer some questions that came from the chat. The spin of this wheel is brought to you by Calamity Kite Clinic. CalamityKiteClinic.com is the website. You want to learn how to ground handle better? Of course you do. Reach out to Sean. Maybe you can meet up with him at one of these fly-ins. And you can do that by going to his website, CalamityKiteClinic.com. Also want to mention Nebraska PPG. Josh Bowden runs a school in Nebraska. He's got a great place over there to train and learn how to be a better pilot. If you're maybe you're already a pilot. I remember when Josh had told me that he reached out to several different people to become what he is today. And as an instructor, he's surrounded himself with the best of the best, and guarantee you're going to get great lessons from Nebraska PPG. There's a link in the description. You want to get a hold of him through Facebook. Also, this show is brought to you by Lone Star Paramotor. LoneStarParamotor.com is the website. If you're in the Lone Star state of Texas, you can reach out to Ron Turan and his team. You get world-class training. They have a great facility over there and some great trainers. Actually, Rain is in the chat right now. She's one of their trainers. Do you have any questions for
Kevin
them?
Houston.
Kevin Houston, congratulations. Kevin Houston. Winner, chicken dinner. Kevin Houston, what I need you to do is go to the website, paraglidingtalk.com/contact. Fill out the contact form, put your address in there and what your shirt size is. And I'm going to send you a nice little package of stuff. Thank you for watching the show. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so Rain's in the chat. She Lone Star Paramotor is the handle
Oh,
that she's
I know
under.
Rain.
Yeah, so she's got a actually she's got a good question. I'm going to ask that after we talk a little bit about the tow training. So Mad Sloper, he's a hair's breadth away from buying an electric winch, and I think he said he sold his motorcycle so he could buy one so he can do tows. He asked this question. He said, "How much towing does Kyle do during his training? Has Kyle thought about going to an electric tow winch?"
Matt Minyard has been through either 2 or 3 electric winches, and he's not had good results with them. As with any tow operation, it's cumbersome. You've got a lot of gear, whether it's electric or whether it's gas powered. There's logistics that have to be in place. There's got to be a very specific set of circumstances for me to break out the tow op. Either I've got experienced people on both ends of the line, and it's like just a fun tow, right? You go out, everybody knows what's going on, everybody knows how it works. That's different. When we're doing training, I'm operating and teaching at the same time. It's not a lot of flying personally, maybe middle of the day, and then we wait for evenings, mornings for students. But the weather has to be cooperative, just like when we're paragliding. We don't just get to say, hey, we're going to go tow today. It's got to be the right hand dealt for it. Just like if you're at the mountain, it's not always right to go. A lot of times you're parawaiting, and then you brought out an army of people in gear, and then you're parawaiting for what, maybe, so I don't do it as often as you would think. Maybe once or twice a year, if I've got 2 or 3 people that I think would benefit from tows, I've got plenty of help, and the weather looks good for it. We'll roll the dice and bring out all the gear and do towing. Now, electric tows, you know, I mean, when the gas stuff breaks down, I mean, I can wrench on it and fix it. But if electronic winch went down, I'm sending it off somewhere. I don't have those skill sets to work on that stuff. And again, hearing Matt's issues with it, and Josiah, my friend Josiah has an e-winch from up in Arkansas, and he was doing self-towing or towing him and a friend at the same time. And he said that if his broke down, he would probably get another one. But then there was when, you know, Matt's telling me that he couldn't get support for his when his did break down, that support was a big issue. It's like one guy building them out of maybe Miami or something. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus with all this. There's maybe many options nowadays, but he was having some trouble with getting it to go or getting it to work. And I remember hearing his frustrations and just thinking, well, I guess, you know, 6 of one, half dozen of another, you know, e-winch versus gas winch or hydraulic or electromagnetic or whatever you're using. There's just always going to be cumbersome logistics involved with a tow op, period. It takes a lot of people and a lot of good weather. And if you're doing training, that's something totally different than if you're doing just towing. Like if everybody's experienced on each end of the line, you can do crosswind tows, you can do thermal tows. But when you're doing students, you know, you're taking them up on their first flights. And so you got to do a class about it. These people have never flown before, and you're taking them up on a tow winch. And so all sort of other things have to be involved with doing students. And that's, again, it's not something that's necessary, but if I got enough of them and I feel like it's a benefit, we'll certainly give it a go and do it like that. But that's kind of my stance on the towing. I built that thing for my personal towing. I have a cousin, he would pull me up, I would fly away, he would come get me. And that's the way we always did it. When I built the machine, it was just for me, but then it turned into, I use it for the school. And of course I went and got, you know, tow tech trained and whatnot. So that's the skinny on towing. Now there's a lot of other detailed things that go into it that we could or could not get into, but that's the skinny on it.
A question followed up was, what's the most important safety precaution when towing? Does Kyle use weak links while towing?
No, because I use a pay-in winch. Weak links have the most benefit with a payout winch. If a line jams, you instantly get that energy transmitted into the glider, and it would, you know, overstress the line, something might pop. That's where a weak link really shines. But if you've got a pay-in winch such as I have, I don't use weak links, because when the winch jams up, the line goes slack. And so you don't get that transmittal of energy into the pilot like that. You know, pros and cons, it's up to the pilot if they want a weak link. But for student activities, I don't do it. I find that they'll pop at the most inopportune times and cause more problems than benefits when we're doing student pay-in tows versus a payout winch. If I'm on a payout winch that jams up every now and then, you know, that a weak link's a good option probably. But again, even doing it then, I've seen it cause more problems than benefits, breaking at the most inopportune time, probably just after a launch. You have a weak link snap, and then somebody's having to catch a surge and then land immediately in the water or they're on the land or whatever. So that's my observations on weak links. We always carry hook knives. And of course, there's a class. Anybody that does towing, we have a tow class, like a classroom setting. And we cover all the what ifs, all the big problems that might happen with towing. That's an important thing. If we're going to do a tow off, everybody has to have the class that's going to do it.
What do you think about towing? I mean, have you ever been able to get some cross country going from where you tow, or is that kind of off the table?
Of course. Yeah, we broke the Louisiana distance record from my tow machine a few years ago.
No kidding.
Yeah, like it was 10 miles.
Nice. Oh, dude, I should come out there and break it. I want to come out there and just so I can do 11 miles.
There you go. There you go. I think it's around 16 or something. It was Britton Shaw and myself, and it took us each 2 or 3 tries to get up and connect. The day was good, but we weren't timing the cycles right. And finally we figured out how to do it. And he connected at first, and he was ahead of me the whole time. He was like a few miles ahead of me. and I was just kind of on his heels, but a thunderstorm cranked up right behind us. And so we both had to land.
Oh,
I landed before him and actually held the record for just a few minutes. And then he
Yeah.
landed like 5 miles down the road and he broke it that same day.
nice.
So that was
Oh,
kind of
that's
a
awesome.
comical thing. But we were just
Oh.
out flying. I don't give two flips about records or anything else like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. We
Hell
have
yeah.
Will Fly donated $5 to the super chat. He said, congratulations on 4K subs, Robert, and resurgence PPG rocks. Thanks, Will Fly. Appreciate that. I remember a story from Phil Russman. He got he had a friend of his who broke some record in, I think it was in Wisconsin or something like that. And he calls him up and tells him, hey, I had like a, couple 100 miles or something like that. And so Phil the next day went out there and broke it by just like 10 or 15 miles. He's cold-blooded, man. Yeah, he shares
Took
that
that.
on the first show when he came on the show.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
No,
I got a new
like I
wing,
say,
by the way.
I never took to competing or marking down my miles or anything like that. I know there's
Yeah.
these contests that people do where they compare the miles and whatnot and their flights. And I don't know. I
I
feel
haven't
like it
figured out
would
how to
take
do
away
it.
from safety if I would do that. It would inevitably, when I've done competition with any of my hobbies, it's turned into making worse decisions than what I needed to do the hobby, if that makes sense. Like I might be pushing to go a little further or to take a little more risk when I don't need to. And that I never want that to interfere with my flying. Like I want it to be
Yep.
pure and safe and what I want and not what I'm trying to compete against or with. And
Right.
so I just
You
won't
know,
do any kind of competition with my flying. I'm never going to do it.
that's really wise. It's really wise. And I'll tell you why. I have a really good friend of mine who he got taken out of the sport because he had a kind of a crappy situation in a competition. Just made some bad decisions. He admits it was all his fault. He messed up, and sure enough, he's not. I haven't heard anything about him flying at all. And he was gun ho, man, flying. I mean, every minute. Yeah, got to be careful.
Yeah,
There was another question. Rain asked this question. She said, are you planning to build any new trikes, toys, airframes?
yes. Yes. I enjoy building.
Nice.
The last one I did was in February. I took the whole month to do a custom build for a former student or current student. I don't know what you call it. We're all students always, but yeah, I like to build them in the cooler months if I can, because same reason I don't want to go outside now. I don't want to go out into the shop because it's hot and sweaty and nasty work. But during the winter, I'm going to do some builds this winter. I hope. The next one I've gotten all the parts actually in there sitting is for a big boy trike. Like we're talking 350, 400-pound people that, probably foot launch is out of the question, but they still have dreams of flying. There's these people out there, this subset that I think, I could build them a custom trike that in the right wing combo. That's what's on I had a guy that was kind of coming to train, but he never made it. So that got pushed back burner, but I think I'm going to do that this winter and just have I don't know what I'm going to call it. I've got it in my mind, but it's going to be a big boy trike for like the bigger guys. Plenty of room.
Yeah.
That's
Just
what's
call
next
it
on
that.
the
Monster PPG.
Just make a sticker, big boy trike. That's all you have to do.
big boy
That
trike.
thing will sell
There
like
you go.
hotcakes. Yeah. This is
Maybe,
America,
maybe.
bro.
But this is more like custom
Yeah.
stuff, man. I don't really want to do production. This is more like a monster garage type thing. You've seen that one back in the day.
It's got to make one or two.
You take the customer, like this last one I built. He was a smaller guy. So I took his inseam, his measurements, his height, his weight, all this stuff. And I designed the trike to fit his body exactly. And then when I got the frame built, I got in it, it was squishing me. I was like, oh no, it's too small. And I was tripping. And it was a real mind numbing thing to think, oh God, I built it wrong. But then he got in it. He's like, oh yeah, it fits great. It was fit to his body, not my body. I'm like 60 pounds over him. So it made sense that it wouldn't feel right for me to sit in it, but it was fine for him. But I was worried to death about it when I sat in it and thought, oh no, I've built this thing way too little. But no, it's fine. Anyway, that's what I
What are
want
you
to do,
about
but on the bigger
6?
end of things too.
You're 6'2",
6'3",
6'1",
220,
shrinking.
6'3", 220. Yeah.
When you were at the house last time, I think you were 6'4", so you're shrinking down a little bit.
Yeah, maybe my what do they call them? The things between your vertebrae,
Yeah.
my disc are probably squishing down. Not from hard
Getting
landings though. Not from hard
Yeah,
landings.
yeah.
I tend to
Not to be
land pretty
confused.
good no matter what. You know, I can't
Yeah.
come through this town with a limp for any reason. Inevitably, hey, you must
Oh,
have landed
yeah.
that thing kind of hard, right? Might know, man. I stepped in a hole in
Yep.
my yard, or slipped on the kitchen floor. It's just no, I can't limp without somebody thinking I done crashed.
Oh, that's funny.
Yep, yep. They
There was a
probably think I'm lying
question.
when I tell them no, right?
You see here. Will Fly asked this question. He said, "What does Kyle think about the mini mott?" And I
What's
need
a
to know
mini
what
mott?
that is. Yeah, I have no idea. It must be that. Is it that little
Is that the new
motor?
UFO they're talking about? That the government said
Yeah, mini mott.
the mini mott.
So I got a message from a voice message from Black Griffin. I don't know if you follow him, Gabriel Brown, and
It sounds
his
familiar. That sounds
fiance.
familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been on the show a couple times. He's the guy that got selected to go to outer space on with Elon Musk and those guys. And then now
Oh,
he's been on America's Got Talent twice. What else? He's got a bajillion followers on YouTube. Anyways, he messaged me that his fiance is learning how to paramotor, and he bought her a little miniature motor. I think it's that what he's talking about,
a
because
mini
she
mott.
weighs
Okay.
100 pounds. Yeah, she only weighs 100 pounds, and the Atom 80 was too heavy for her, so they had to get her a mini mott, and
Is
so
this
she's
this
going to be
thing that
learning how
Tucker
to
God
fly
had
that.
on his channel where he was riding kayaks
It
and
must
bicycles?
be.
Maybe
No,
that may
It
be what
must
they
be.
call that,
no. It's not
That's
that
different.
one. It's
but it's a
close, but
similar.
it's not that one.
Okay,
It's
probably got an
similar, but it's
RC engine
not.
on it.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. The prop is smaller. It is altogether a smaller. I'd actually like to check that out if they end up
Well, I
that
could
Dave
answer the
Purden's
question
flying.
easily, because anything that's behind the harness is accessory, and I don't care what it is. It doesn't even have to be good or built right. As long as my, forgive my language, but my ass to wing connection is solid, then I'm happy, right? As long as my leg straps are connected to my swing arms, are connected to my beaners, to my glider, and there's a safety that goes around the shackle, I'm happy with that. And anything that's aside from that doesn't really matter to me. It could be anything back there pushing me, and it's going to be fine. I never expect it to work. I don't give any faith in any paramotor anytime. I'm flying the glider and the harness, and if it's going to push me, okay. And if it's not, okay. But I'm not going to trust it to. And so I probably would hate the mini mott as well as all the rest of them. So
Yeah. Who was that? Somebody said, you know how you can tell when your paramotor is going to die? Because it's running.
it's running. Yeah, that was me.
That's how you know. That's how you know.
That's how you know. But yeah, but if I'm hooked to the glider safely,
Yeah.
I've flown paramotors that were 3D printed, that were made out of conduit and hose clamps. And again, as long as the harness is connected to the wings safely and the motor doesn't look like it's going to have a real deal come apart, I'm fine with flying it and seeing if it'll work. I really have no reservations about that. Oh, look at that little thing. Such a tiny little thing. It would never get me off the ground.
That's it. Yeah. Wow. That thing is tiny.
Yeah,
Woo-hoo.
that's almost my size flyable there.
How much
Now,
does
if
it
I
weigh?
Yeah, that thing's got to be light.
It's like
Oh,
30
it's
pounds,
light.
maybe?
It's lighter than the Atom 80.
He's got to have a ton of wind, though.
Yeah.
And with
It
the
doesn't
right
look
wing,
like it.
I mean, even with the Ozone Xeno and the Atom 80, even at my weight, I'm just above idle and the thing is level. So I could see with a nice lifty wing and just a little bit of thrust and some wind, you'd be good. like I say, it'll push, then
The
yay.
mini Mach.
If one up, it happens to be a Dave Purdy's flying, I'll check one out and I'll shoot footage of me flying it. And y'all can tell me what you think, if it would, line up with me or what,
There you go.
For
You're
a
pretty
100-pound
light,
lady,
Sean.
though,
You could probably
yeah,
fly it.
yeah.
I put that in my back seat of my truck. Yeah, absolutely.
Sean, I think Sean's a 100-pound lady.
It's
pretty
somewhere
light.
around there. Okay. Hey, just because I flew a little cloud 22 meter that is meant for females does not mean anything. Okay. It just means I'm a lightweight
Is
guy.
that
That's
really
all.
made for females?
Yeah.
Was it really
Yeah,
made
it
for
is.
females?
Well, it was designed for female pilots in mind because they don't have the upper body strength that a lot of men have. It
Did I
helps with
ever tell you
takeoffs
I
and
got to
such.
meet?
It's a mini wing, dude.
I got to meet the owner of Little Cloud. He showed up to Blossom one day.
Yeah.
I was
Nice.
like, what the heck? I shook his hand. Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Blah, blah. And someone goes, you know who that is? I was like, no. They're like, that's the owner of Little Cloud. And he was actually flying an unnamed glider on that day. And I was trying to tell him, oh, you should name that thing Blossom. So then we have a Blossom Little Cloud.
I miss Blossom Valley.
Oh yeah.
I
I'm gonna
miss
try
it.
to go fly tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
You hear that, gringo? Make sure you bring your wing tomorrow. So we're gonna go to Blossom right after work. Look, okay, this guy,
I have to
man.
work tomorrow. Tomorrow's a work day.
I
just
want
call
my
your
shirt.
brother.
It's okay.
Wonderful.
It's air conditioned. I hope it's air conditioned. Knock on wood. I hope it's air conditioned.
Yeah.
For the
That's
drug's
what we
sake,
do.
just so that the drugs stay fresh, right?
What happened to him?
Got tripped by his brother,
Mm.
fell on your drone.
Oh, did you break the drone?
No,
All right.
no, it was a box.
Take that's a boxing he's gonna have a black eye. Take some cold metal and just push that thing down.
Hey, Josh Perry wanted to know from Kyle, has Kyle been looking at the new EFI videos from Vitarazzi? Any thoughts?
Straight into the camera.
Man, I heard that it was expensive. And I don't
Wow, that's
know
a shiner right there.
I need anything expensive on a paramotor. Isn't it like half the cost of the paramotor? That's what I was reading or heard.
It
That may
seems
be a
pretty
rumor.
expensive. I thought they released one like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and they were
Oh,
like,
dude, every year there's somebody
or
that's
something.
trying to cook up one, but the carburetors are shitty enough. Why not just keep using those? They're like $100, right?
Well, they got somebody popped out a pretty cool video on Instagram of a new, but this is more for like 2-stroke dirt bikes. Man, I'm planning on doing a little video on it. I'm gonna talk about carburetors. I got all excited about it, but then I thought it's a carburetor. They're all garbage.
Yeah, pretty simple. Been pumping gas and air for many decades now,
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure EFI is great. If they were negligible as far as the cost, I would probably be on board with that. I've slipped out of the harness and reached back there and leaned my carb out for a high climb before in the air.
That's
it only
what
takes me
Gringo's
like
been doing.
500 feet to do it on a moster. I can reach back there on a moster and I could slip an arm out of the harness and reach around and finger that carb and make it work and lean it out.
That's crazy.
And then slip back in, do a recrank, and off I go for the rest of my flight. It only cost me 500 to 1,000 feet of descent while I'm doing it. So if I climb up to 7 and the motor starts running bad, I slip one arm, reach back, do my move, restart, and continue my climb if I want to go past that, and then just kill it for the ride down. I ain't worried about reaching it back up really. So I just glide down, power off. But unless I was doing that kind of flight all the time, or I just don't see the cost of benefit doesn't work for me yet with EFI. If they were just a few $100, yeah, maybe that might be a thing.
Tomorrow's newspaper.
It's an extra bit of complexity and extra bit of cost that I don't think is necessary for paramotors. These things are like weed eaters.
Tomorrow's newspaper is going to read Vitarazzi EFI stock plummets.
I don't know. They'll probably sell a ton of them. People are gearheads, they want all the stuff, and people got more money than sense sometimes, but I don't have either. So I'm just going to stick with old junk that I got. If they start giving them away or selling them for cheap, I might buy one or two and see what's up. I figure it'll fail just as quick as the last thing. So I got a lot of faith
it'll
in
come up.
paramotors. For somebody that does them for a living, I got a whole bunch of faith in them, you know?
Yeah, we always talk about, man, wouldn't it be cool if like Honda would come up with a 2-stroke paramotor? And
Oh, yeah.
I
Be
still
reliable.
think it.
Then Harbor Freight would come out with one and they'd be real cheap.
Yeah. I just, man, you can have a Honda, it seems like, and it'll be a 100-year-old Honda with gas that's well expired, and you could still start that thing up and go ride it. They can't
Yeah.
figure out how to put that on a motor for your back so you can fly around. You just can't do it.
Man,
Yeah.
they've got them. They're just lightweight, hard running machines. They're going to break at some point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I expect the EFI probably works good enough.
Yeah.
Is that an opinion? Did that answer the question? I hope.
Yeah. Duck Spit. He said the Micro Mini has just as much push as an Atom 80 125, if not more, and instant spin up. Wow, interesting. Things they closely resemble that setup that they're trying to produce for free flying, where you have a motor that's kind of just a little concealed motor.
It's like
where
a little
your fairing
boost,
used to be.
just so you get a little boost
Yeah.
up to catch a thermal, you know?
I'm telling you, there's been numbers of times when if I just had a little boost, it would have changed the day.
And that's what I do with my 80s. I climb up 500-600 feet, connect with a thermal, kill the motor, and then fly all afternoon. If I want to fly back to where I started, just do a recrank. You know, if I've letting the thermals drift and I'm going with them, I'll just do a recrank at the end of the flight and push back into the wind on the motor. Of course, it's not the same thing as free flight and that nice pod harness.
Yeah.
You know, it's all
Yeah,
hybrid's
yeah.
always going to be a hybrid, right? It's never going to feel as good as just a harness, and it's never going to feel as crappy as just a paramotor that's off. But if you get those
Right.
kind of in between things, it's going to be kind of like a harness with the kind of like a paramotor on the back. I've seen them. There's a bunch of different ones, and
I can't
I
get
don't know. I'm just kind of
excited
one or the
about it.
other is sort of my feeling. I'd rather just paramotor or
Yep.
just free fly. And of
Yep.
course, I don't get the free fly luxury. I got to travel for that or tow. But
Well, that's
yeah, I
the
can
other part of
paramotor
it.
anytime.
Land out somewhere and pack up your free flight stuff, and you just go hike, and you can go for probably 5 or 6 miles before you get, run out of energy or whatever. And
Yeah.
but you can't do that with some goofy motor on there.
No, I got to
Yeah,
land by the road, man. Look for the tire
Yeah.
tracks.
Yeah, that's right.
I always
Yeah.
pick bailouts that I can drive to.
Yeah. This is for the
Yeah.
yearbook. Oh, Scuba Steve, he said, can you ask Kyle something? He takes a pic with his students, including myself, and says, this is for the yearbook. Where has those photos gone to?
In my phone, probably.
Yeah. They're still in his
I say
phone.
that to everybody though that does a flight. I'm like, let's get a picture for the yearbook. And
Yeah.
one of these days I'm gonna put together a collage, I guess.
You're gonna have to.
Got a lot
Scuba
of
Steve
faces.
wants to see. Yeah.
A lot of faces.
Scuba
Yeah,
Steve
his
wants
in
to
there
see his
somewhere.
picture in there.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You know, when I get together 5 or 10 of them, I might make my video about it or something.
Well, it's a good thing I have a face for radio and a voice for print,
There you go.
because I didn't get no picture taken for a yearbook. So
I bet we got a picture together sometime or another. Probably on
Yeah,
an
we
old
did.
phone, Sean.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
That's good. That's some good stuff. By the way, this show is brought to you by maxacro.com. You maybe want to go get some training, get over the water, get towed up by a boat, do some crazy stuff, learn what your wing will do, maybe even try some acro stuff. This is something that I think everybody should do if you're going to stay in the sport for a long time. You don't want to get scared out of it because you experience some bumps or you put yourself in a spin or something by accident, freak yourself out. You can go to an SIV clinic with Max. You can learn all kinds of stuff. and then come back with just a really good set of tools and some confidence that you didn't have before. And I can share personally my personal experience with it. It was incredible, start to finish, really competent on the radio. He brings it good. And he's got some world stuff that he's doing with maxacro.com. So go check out his website, sign up for some for some SIV clinics with Max and his team. Also, the show is brought to you by Resurgence PPG. If you're interested in supporting our men and women of uniform, you can make a tax-deductible donation to resurgencepppg.com. And when you do that, you're supporting our men and women that put their lives on the line for your freedom. These guys go out, and a lot of times they'll go into battle, get screwed up in the head, and come back and not have much to look forward to in life. And what Resurgence PPG has done is give them a platform to and given them a vision for life. And really cool, such a good group of people. And every time I hear stories about them, I'm encouraged to support them. Go check out their website, resurgencepppg.com. They're a 501c3, so that means you can make a tax-deductible donation to them and save yourself from giving your money to Joe. And yeah, super cool. Kyle, I really appreciate you making time. I know you're a busy dude. Thank you for
I'm glad to come on when I
making time to
can.
come on the
I think I've stood you up the last couple of invites. It was
show. Yeah.
life, life happens sometimes.
I don't get too offended because I know how busy you are. I'm a busy dude
No,
myself.
I always love to come on this show. This is probably my favorite one. I
Yeah.
guess
Well, you helped pioneer it, Kyle.
Did
Yeah,
you hear that, David?
I reckon I pay rent to get on this show. I pay rent to be on this show.
That's true. Pays for the show.
That's right.
You put your money where your mouth is. That's what that is. Yeah, Kyle's
Heck yeah.
he's some people don't know. Kyle's actually come to stay at the house for like a week, and we went flying all over the place around here. He brought
it was one of the
free flight wings.
high points of travel in my life, man. That was good.
Yeah.
Y'all just took me in like I lived there or something.
Yeah. You're like one of the kids. I think we just put you in one of the kids' rooms. Here you go. Yeah. So that come back soon. We love to have you, and we got the new place. So you bring your motor, and you can fly right out of the dang backyard.
Careful what you ask for.
Yeah. No, come on over, Kyle. It's not too far. We're actually
it's just
closer
a short 2-day drive. That's all.
Yeah. 48 hours. Come on. You do that with your eyes closed.
Nothing to it.
Nonstop.
Yeah.
I gotta do is schedule a week off work, right?
Yeah. Your brother cover for you.
That's right. That's
He's a
right.
good
I
man.
cover for him every time he asks. I
Yeah,
never say no.
That's right.
That's I have to, but never say no if I can, because sometimes I need
right.
it.
Yeah.
That's the karma. That's the karma.
If you guys want to join us, we're going to go to the after show right now. There's some links in the description. You can see that. Come hang out with us for a little bit. I'm not going to hold Kyle hostage. If he runs away, it's because you're too late. But if he does stick around, you can come hang out with us for a little bit. So I really appreciate everybody who's been supporting the show on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you for keeping the show going. If you want to make a contribution to the getting better internet for me, I'm going to buy the Starlink as soon as we get to $800. Please support the show. If you'll do that, it'll just make my life a whole lot easier, not just for the show, but anytime I use the dang internet. Man, it's frustrating. I know what you're going through, Kyle. Now I know what you were going through before you had it. So Starlink is coming soon. I wish that they would just figure it out. Verizon, I mean, we got all kinds of stuff around here. They can't figure it out. But anyways, thank you guys. Really appreciate you. If I don't see you on the air, I'll see you in there.